I'm so glad you're joining us here in Imagen News. I'm María Salazar. I want to remind you that I participate every day in a political roundtable called El Primer Café, where what we do every morning is basically talk about the news, fight about the news, debate the news. We try to put the news into context. Every day from 7 to 8 in the morning on Channel 40, Sky 140, and EC 140. So try to join us. So I also usually send out a link daily through my Twitter account, our Twitter account, which is at Mexico Daily, so you can watch us as we're streaming live, or you can actually see the video cast. So there's just a lot of ways to watch El Primer Café, and it's a good way to understand what's going on in Mexico. So please join us. Well, you heard some of the issues that is being raised by the approval in the lower house of the bill, where the income bill, which, you know, there clearly is already some complaints coming from the business sector here in Mexico, but it's pretty much these complaints aren't going to go anywhere, probably. I mean, that's the sense of what our guest said. But also, I think we also need to put into context the way Mexico is being viewed by transnational, international businesses who are coming to Mexico and investing, in part because of the reforms that were approved by this government, but also Mexico, according to some business people that I've spoken to, I mean, they consider Mexico to be the place to invest simply because of where it is, the neighborhood, including the U.S. market, and of course the potential. To talk about this group that is doing these types of investments in Mexico, I have on the line Frédéric Garcia. He's General Director and President, Executive President of Global Companies. Would that be, or Global Businesses? Would that be the formal name in English? Welcome to the show, Frédéric.
Yes, how are you? Ana María, it's a pleasure talking to you. And the correct name is Consejo, Ejecutivo de Empresas Globales, means the Mexican Council of Global Companies in Mexico.
Mexican Council. It's good to have you on the line because you know we hear a lot of concerns about Mexico and investing in Mexico, but your group, your council, in generally speaking, is very excited about Mexico. Am I correct?
Absolutely, you're right, Maria. Our group basically is formed by 44 global companies in all the sectors in Mexico: automotive, energy, IT, agribusiness, and so forth and so forth. Globally, we represent in Mexico about 2 million jobs, 10% of the GDP, about 11% of the exports, so we are a real player altogether of the Mexican economy. And what I can tell you is that we are very, very enthusiastic about the future of the economy in Mexico. And just for this year, we've made an announcement months ago in February with the Mexican President, Mr. Peña Nieto, that our association, altogether all the companies, will invest in the country about $24 billion.
Wow, that's a lot of money. But it is fascinating to see how people, the business community outside of Mexico is so excited when, you know, there are concerns. And you and I were at a conference the other day, and we could, you know, there.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been expressed numerous times by business people here in Mexico a lot of complaints as to what's happening with the Mexican economy and the Mexican tax system and the Mexican regulations. That makes it, accounting especially, makes it really difficult to invest in Mexico.
Well, not much more than other countries. And what are the main competitive advantages that we see in Mexico? First of all, the fact that Mexico belongs to so many free trade agreements. The first one was signed 20 years ago with the U.S. and Canada, but now TPP with Europe and so forth. This is a strong competitive advantage. Another one is the fact that all the structural reforms implemented by the current government will increase a lot the competitiveness of the country. Basically, the cost of energy will go down, the cost of telecommunication will go down. We're going to have in the future much better education in the country, better access to financing, and a lot of strong competitive advantage. And the third competitive advantage right now is the price of the currency. The currency, the Mexican pesos have become very, very competitive right now. So these are the three main advantages we see on top of a very, very productive manpower we have in Mexico.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot about foreign investments. Let me just ask you one last question. Is the current economic global environment affecting transnational investment in Mexico?
Look, the global economic environment is very unstable right now since few months. And the perspective of Mexico is not that bad, actually. On the contrary, if we just look on the next year, Mexico will be on a little bit higher of the average of growth in the world. And this is very interesting. The second matter that is going on is that in a few months from now, Mexico will become the second trade partner for U.S. And it's really important as well. So now a lot of global companies are looking at Mexico as with a strong interest to follow investing in manufacturing and in plants in Mexico.
Okay, well, it's always great to have you on the show, Frédéric. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Ana María.
Thank you, Frédéric Garcia. And I want to thank all of you for joining us here in Imagen News. I'm Ana María Salazar. I want to remind you that immediately after this, we have a brief summary of the most important news in Mexico, but now in Spanish, so don't go away. Bye-bye.
Imagen News.